Hello, everyone, and welcome back to The Stern Spiel, a weekly podcast where a dad and a daughter sit down to talk about all things happening in pop culture, politics, and our personal lives. I'm Veronica Stern.
I am Charlie Stern, at New Charlie Stern on Instagram. And how you doing, Veronica?
I'm good. It's officially episode 14, which means we've been doing this for 14 weeks, which is a pretty big accomplishment.
Consistently, too. It's like solidly every week, once a week. Yep.
The thing that's falling back a little bit is my ability to create clips because, you know, it just takes a lot of editing, and I don't know if I have it in me right now.
Social media commentary. You make clips, they get viewed a lot. The video is not viewed as much.
No.
But there's also podcast listeners. There's a few of those. So you combine podcast listeners with YouTube, you have an audience of some sort. The people that are watching those clips, I think, are different people, and they sort of enjoy the podcast through the clips.
Yeah, no, I know that. So I don't want to like beat a dead horse because we talk about this like literally every single week, but you know, that's sorry that there hasn't been clips in like 3 weeks. I just like have not been in the mood to like edit them, basically.
And I'm saying don't beat yourself up. So we got some stuff to talk about today because there's things going on around here.
What's going on?
Well, you know, there was a certain event that took place on Tuesday evening. Now, we can laugh about it now.
I'm not laughing. I'm just laughing at the way that you're saying it.
It was the furthest thing from funny. And when the call came in, I was upstairs working. Your mom was in the kitchen. And you got to come downstairs. I thought, well, is dinner ready? Why are you calling me? Oh, no. And I said, well, I'm kind of, you know, it was an odd time. It wasn't really dinner time. So what's going on? And I said, I'm kind of in the middle of something. And your mom said, I'm kind of in the middle of an emergency. So I shot downstairs immediately, and go ahead, you can tell the story from there.
So, okay, that's like a bit of a cliffhanger. So on Tuesday after work, long day of work, I was going to take a bike ride, which I've started doing more regularly on Saturday, the last Saturday, once the weather finally broke. So I've been going on bike rides, and my sister wanted to come too. We have 2 bikes. So I was like, yeah, perfect. Like, let's just go together. It sounds good. We'll bike down to the park that's on the other side of town. We take that route like all of the time. No big deal. And like, we were just like maybe 100 feet away from the park. And basically what happened is I'm still like not 100% sure. I think my mind kind of like went blank for a second, and maybe I forgot I was riding a bike. Like, I just genuinely don't know. But I basically like put my arm out to signal that like we were going to be turning right. And the bike got out from under me, and I took a pretty bad fall off of my bike. I like tumbled forward. I remember like hearing myself hit the ground, and I was like, oh my God, I just fell. And then my sister was in front of me on her bike, and she got spooked and like turned around and fell off her bike. And in the moment, all I was thinking about was, oh my God, I need to get out of the middle of the road because it is a busy road. Luckily, there weren't any cars like behind us. But yeah, I fell off my bike onto my left side. I was like in the middle of the road for like a second. And my sister was like, Veronica, get up. And I was like, okay, like I can't get up right now. Like I literally like thought I broke something because of how in pain I was. Like immediately I got the energy to like move myself, and like we left the bike in the middle of the street because like neither of us could like pick it up in the moment. And yeah, I got to the sidewalk, and my sister was being super calm because I was freaking out, and I was like, oh my God, please call mom right now. She called my mom. We were like, we just fell off of our bikes. We just need you to come pick us up because we can't bike home. Yeah.
She stopped everything, dropped everything, and went and got you. I finished cooking dinner, and she went down there, threw the bikes in the back of the car, threw the kids in the back of the car, drove you home. Now, when you got home, what I saw was two people who had been kind of beat up by a fall off a bicycle. Now, the thing is, I want you to tell, your truth of this story, but there are some things that you're saying that don't totally make sense to me.
Like what?
Like who forgets they're riding a bike?
Okay, so
Okay, that's maybe a way of expressing yourself, but it's not funny to me because there's nothing worse than seeing your kid come home hurt. Okay, and I should also fill in a little bit more about the boundaries and the scope of the injuries, because you bruised your hip, you hurt your neck, your sister.
oh, I was gonna get to that.
Well, let's get to it right now. So your sis fell and basically used her left hand to absorb the energy of the fall, and in doing so, she fractured two fingers. I believe it was these two fingers on the left hand. And then there's a bone in the hand that is also fractured, possibly broken. So she's got a brace that runs from, fingers all the way up her arm right now. And she's going to be in that brace probably for a month. She had, okay, so a lot, that's Tuesday. We're just up to Tuesday right now. It involved an emergency room visit, which you never like to have.
No,
for her, but not for you.
Yeah, so that's the thing. When I fell and I was like sitting on the side of the road, right? There was like, we fell across the street from like a gas station, and these two guys were like, "Are you guys okay?" And we were like, "Yeah, like somebody's coming to come get us." So we were like, "Okay, that's good." Once we got the bike out of the road, well, my sister got it out of the road because I couldn't get up. I was thinking I was the only one that got hurt. And then like right before our mom got there, my sister just went, "My hand really hurts." And I was like, oh, shoot. She also fell. So then we got home, or we got in the car and we were driving back, and like it was not good. Also, quick sidebar. Shout out to, I think his name was Damien at the gas station. He saw us struggling to get the bikes in the car, and
Right.
he like ran across the street and helped us out, which, he did not have to do. It was very kind of him, and
I
it's
didn't
just,
realize that. I think
yeah.
you mentioned something about this episode before, but you didn't mention that there was an individual who came over to provide a little bit of assistance. So that makes me feel but listen, when you came home, I wasn't sure what to expect. It took a long time for mommy to get back home, and it was concerning to me that maybe she was driving straight to the hospital. I wasn't sure what was going on.
because we had to get both of the bikes in the car, which took a minute.
Yeah. So it was, the whole thing was just okay. So then, but then,
wait, can I answer your question really quick?
It's been a week of Tylenol and ibuprofen and rest and doctor's visits, and so and let me just like fill in a little bit more of the story on Ella's side. On your sister's side.
Hold on. Can I just say one thing?
Yep.
You said, "How do you forget you're riding a bike?" What happened is this. And anybody that like runs outside or, gets in a zone or something, like we were in the zone of biking, okay? That's the only way I can explain it. I distinctly remember 5 seconds before I fell off my bike, I like looked to the right and I was like, "Oh, that church reminds me of something." And then like I turned forward and then put my arm out, and then that's when I fell. So
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, that's what I meant. Like we weren't on our phones, we were wearing our helmets, like we were doing everything correctly in terms of biking outside.
Okay. Thank God Almighty, no one lost a limb, no one lost their life, and you were going to all recover from this. But it's going to take a while.
Well, what do you want to say about my sister? Because I don't want to talk about her. She doesn't
accidents
want to be
happen.
talked about.
Well, no, I just wanted to kind of provide the scope of the whole thing. So the next day, she found a orthopedist to visit. I had to drive her out to Edison, New Jersey.
Yeah, well, because she went to the emergency room, and they were like, "You fractured your hand.
Right.
Go to a doctor."
So go see somebody. So she did. She found somebody. It's not that easy to find a specialist who can see you. Even, if you're injured, it's hard. So she found, it's about an hour and 30 minutes drive. We went out there. Thankfully, this individual has offices in closer to us. So follow-up meetings or follow-up visits won't be as difficult. He needed a CT scan of the hand, and she had to find some place to get that done. And so, you know how in prior episodes we've talked about how difficult it is to get prescriptions filled? Well, that applies to lab also. So your sis got the full-on experience of dealing with insurance company, healthcare provider, doctor's office, hospital, lab. She got the whole experience, and I think she handled it very, very well, and she took the direction from me, if I say so myself, on how to go about it. She got it done. She got her appointments. She got the CT scan, and so the rest is going to unfold. So that's that experience. I'm glad we landed and we're okay now.
Yeah, I would say today I'm 80% better, which was 30% more than I was yesterday. Yesterday I was in bad pain.
Okay.
So, we'll see. I have more mobility in my neck today, which is good. Basically, I just told my mom and the doctor yesterday, I was like, you know what it feels like? It feels like I fell onto concrete. That's what happened.
It's not soft, not a soft landing.
Yeah, was not a soft landing. So all in all, thank God everything turned out the way that it did. Nobody was So yeah, that's what happened in the beginning of this week. Not an amazing start to the week, but
no, not a great thing
I would say
have happen.
But
now you got to get back on the bike and get back in gear, because you can't be afraid of it.
No, I'm not. I mean, this is my second bicycle incident.
That's true. You fell off a bike a bunch of years ago, and there was an injury
involved. That was much worse.
Yeah.
No, it's not comparable. That was a completely different injury. I don't even know if you can call it an injury.
But you know what? It brings up something that does bother me about this whole thing, which is you were riding your bike, but Ella was riding Quincy's bike.
Okay, first of all, I don't know. Should we be saying everybody's names like that?
We've already done it so many times.
Okay. Anyways, you have this thing about gendered bicycles.
Yeah.
They're not gendered. They're not.
Okay.
I'm just telling you, they're not. It just has different types of bikes. So what he's talking about is a bike that has a pole, that the bar goes like this, and then my bike, the bar goes like this. So there's no pole. Because the first time I got into a bicycle accident, to spare everybody the details, I landed right on the pole, and that was pretty traumatizing. So I don't ride those types of bikes anymore. And I think that's also why I fell the way that I did the other day.
Oh, I should also point out you did both have helmets on, so
I said
thank
that.
God Almighty for that.
I know.
You did say that. Okay, so
yeah, that's it. That's all there is to say about the bicycle incident.
Yeah.
We weren't distracted. We were very aware of our surroundings. It just happens sometimes. Bicycles are dangerous. Everything's dangerous in life.
Yep.
Everything is.
Accidents
you just have to
happen. It's how you roll with it and how you recover.
Yeah.
So can I turn the page on something
Sure.
else? So you're going into week 3 of your new job?
Yes.
How's that working out for you?
Week 2 was so much better. I just updated my LinkedIn today. Okay. Oh, and I told you they added me to the Instagram bio, which is pretty big.
For where you work, that's a big thing.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm starting to get a little bit of a flow. It's fun for the most part, and yeah, just trucking along. It's only been 2 weeks, which is really just wild. But when I was looking at my LinkedIn today, when I updated it, I was thinking to myself wow, it says that my last job, and I'm talking about the social media job, I ended that in July. So truly, I was only fully unemployed July, August, September, which in the scope of things is not that bad.
No.
In the moment, it felt horrible, and I've never actually not had income coming in like that since I was a kid, obviously, but that doesn't count. So it's just makes you grateful for all of the times that you were struggling. I wouldn't call it struggling though, but yeah. So going into week 3, I'm looking forward to it. I'm getting a better understanding of the job, and it's just always helpful to talk to friends and stuff, and they remind me Rome's not built in a day, and it takes time. So
you're getting workflow, but you're getting a sense of satisfaction. I mean, if you still think it's fun,
yeah,
I hope that lasts a long time.
Oh my God, Dad, I have to tell you something. I have a TikTok that's going viral right now.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
One that you created for your job?
No.
For your
on my personal Instagram.
What's it about?
It's So basically, you know, the Wicked movie's coming out.
Yes.
So yesterday when I was on the train, like I just like remembered something about the Wicked movie, like I was excited about. So I just took a picture of myself and like put words over it on TikTok, which I know like is a strategy that works sometimes. And it just said, everyone's looking forward to Cynthia Erivo singing Defying Gravity, but I'm really looking forward to her singing Wizard of Eye, which is arguably the better song of like Elphaba's, you know.
Okay. I gotta
Song
unravel
list.
this. It's a still with words over it.
Yeah.
Music?
There is music in the background.
What music?
Jessica Voss singing The Wizard and I.
Is that the song that you said you'd rather
Yeah.
hear? Okay, now I understand. But the song, the recording that you put over it is from a cast recording? Or
No,
from
it's
the
from
movie?
like a bootleg, like somebody bootlegged Jessica Voss singing it like in one show or something.
But it was on
TikTok.
TikTok and
Yeah.
available for
Yeah.
your use? Wow, that's incredible. Okay.
So basically, like I posted that yesterday, literally coming home from the doctor's office, like half asleep, delirious, and it was just like a thought I had in my head, and I posted it. It has like almost 15,000 likes and like almost 150,000 views.
Now, I heard you say something about Wicked this week.
It's all I can talk about.
You can't talk about the amount of the show that comes from one portion of the story versus another.
Wait, what do you mean?
I heard you say something like the movie is only the first 10 chapters of the book or something like that.
So basically the Wicked movie that's coming out in November, so there's two parts. They're putting out two movies.
Be careful. Don't reveal any proprietary information here.
There's no proprietary
Okay, all right,
information. I
okay.
only know what the internet knows.
Okay.
The movie is two parts. So the first part is coming out this year, and then the second part of the movie is coming out next year. And it was revealed this week, like the track list for the first part of the movie was revealed, and it's only act one. Like, you know, Wicked is a Broadway musical, and there's two acts. And so the movie is also two parts. And it's just like an interesting choice because the first part of the movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes, which is the entire length of Wicked Broadway.
Are you saying this movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes long?
That's what they're saying.
Okay, I'm not going to see that. I don't have the patience. No way.
Well, I don't know if it's really made for you, so I don't think that's a problem.
I'm sure it's going to be a great movie. I have a feeling we're about to be inundated with hype about that movie.
We already are. Name a brand.
Pampers.
Yeah, they probably have a Wicked collaboration. I can double check. I can fact check. But name another brand.
Ivory Soap.
It's green, so it might as well be a Wicked collaboration.
Ivory Soap is white, Veronica. Irish Spring is green.
Anyways, what else is going on this week?
One thing that went on this week is...
By the way, I forgot to check what time we started, so, you know.
So I checked, and we started at 4:08. We're pretty good. Okay. We should probably wrap up in about 5 minutes.
Okay.
This week I purchased the New York Post, the newspaper on paper.
I noticed that.
First time in... I it might be 10 years.
Wait, why?
I saw it in the supermarket. I thought I would like to go home because a lot of times, since we live fairly close, to a supermarket, sometimes I just go to the supermarket, come home and eat whatever I bought. And I wanted to sit down and I don't want to sit down and watch CNN for the 80 millionth hour of the year. I want to do something different. And so it was a diversion. So I put down the $2 and bought the newspaper.
Whoa.
And a lot to say. It brought back old memories. But I will also say to you that the newspaper is a little different in print edition than it used to be.
Mm-hmm. How so?
It's organized a little bit more like a website than it used to be.
Really?
I think so. Yes,
Huh.
I think so. Page 6 is still no longer on page 6. If anybody knows New York Post, page 6 is like a features. It's a feature, not a page. And a lot of the same things that have always been there, the crazy headlines. But one thing I noticed is that it takes longer to read the newspaper and ingest what it's saying than it does to just watch things on TV.
I mean, that's the tale as old as time.
But you get so much more depth, and I was able to see articles and peruse information that I otherwise might not have looked at, and that's the beauty of newspaper. I still think there's a place for it. I actually was considering subscribing. I'm going to take a look and see what it costs. The only problem is your house fills up with junk, and there's a lot more garbage and things to throw away, and then you feel bad if you don't read it all. So I don't know what to say. I mean, and then the other thing is the New York Post online
it's online.
It is available at no charge.
There is something about like holding it though.
And then the other thing is when you look at it online, you're also seeing a bunch of advertising that's like not just not interesting, it's obnoxious.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
Right, like links to, if you have these 3 symptoms, you might have kidney disease. Like I just can't deal with that. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So speaking of kidney disease, we watched, there's this new TV show on like cable, guys. Like, talk about newspaper. We're watching cable this week. Okay. Cable, called Dr. Odyssey. And it's a new Ryan Murphy show. And you remember Glee?
It was not on cable. It was on...
What's cable?
Wasn't it on HBO Max?
No, it's on ABC.
It was on ABC. So, like, you go to, what, ABC Go? Like, what?
No, we go to Channel 7.
Oh, Channel 7? That was on, like, broadcast?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's not cable. That's
What's cable?
Broadcast TV. Cable TV was, before there was streaming... you had to get your television programming either from the antenna on the roof of your house or from a cable television provider. Like Spectrum was a cable TV provider. And then the signal didn't get to you over the internet. The signal got to you over coaxial cable wires that came right into your house. They were all over the house.
So what is ABC 7?
Broadcast TV.
So yeah, this TV show is on broadcast TV, a run-of-the-mill, like scripted 1-hour television show. It's called Dr. Odyssey. Ryan Murphy is like the guy behind it. Dad, do you remember the show Glee?
Yes.
Doesn't it remind you of Glee?
No.
No?
No. It reminds me of The Love Boat.
Well,
because
that too.
Because
it's literally set on a cruise ship. So, like, if you haven't seen this show, basically the premise is every week there's this cruise ship and there's these 3 doctors that work on the cruise ship. And, like, different people come onto the cruise ship. And, like, every week there's a theme. So, like, last week it was singles week. This week it was plastic surgery week. And my dad finally sat down and watched it with us. And you have thoughts?
My thought is that it is actually a high-quality program that I hope I never have to watch again. So, it is a high quality. There's a lot of writing packed in there. There's a lot of thought to it, but it's so preposterous.
But that's the point.
It's supposed to be like a medical thriller that takes place on a cruise ship. So it's kind of like The Love Boat meets ER.
Yeah,
and
I guarantee you, Dad, that was the elevator pitch when they sent it to ABC.
Yeah, and I
love it.
More power to them. But it's not something I can tune into.
No, it's
week in and week out. It's very campy.
It's so campy. A woman's nose fell off because she was doing too much cocaine.
Well, this is the other thing. It was too gory.
It was very gory.
Oh God,
it is very gory. Like, I'm watching most of it like this the whole time.
Don't remind me of that whole thing. It was just terrible. Terrible.
Ugh, yeah, it was weird.
And it's also idealized stuff because the cruise ship, it's not that nice inside. And there's no way they have like these palatial operating suites inside of the cruise ship. Give me a break. Give me a break.
I don't know. Maybe. I've never been on a cruise ship, but this show makes me never want to go.
I mean, Ella can barely get a hand CT. And we've got access to everything here. These people are getting complex surgeries on a cruise ship.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's not happening.
So that's Dr. Odyssey. I think it's quite funny. But I don't know. What, should we wrap up, or do you think we have time for one more thing?
Well, do you have one more thing? Because we have a minute or two.
Well, no.
Okay, then we're going to call it a day. That's it for today on the Stern Spiel, everybody. Like, subscribe, follow. If you're listening to the podcast, you can click a button at the top, send a message back to us.
Yes.
We love the comments, and we have received a few of them now. So it's like beginning to tick up. Thank you, everybody. You know what to do. We love hearing from you. We'll talk about whatever you recommend. And yeah, have a good week.
See ya. Bye.
Bye, everybody.